So record this a bit. So I'm saying, yeah, we are now understood the use state and the different scenarios, correct? Kind of most of the things with respect to use state. The next thing that we are going to learn, understand, is actually called sharing the state between the components. So do you know uh, how do we share the data between the components? Do you guys have an idea? How do we share the data between two components? Let's say I have component 1, okay, and I also have component, okay, B. Now the question is, how do I share the data between these two components? Do we have we learned like how to share the data
Using props.
using
Yeah.
prop? Using prop will work provided this component B or A, either one of them is a child of other component. Yeah, do you know this? If it is child, I can actually use pass this to component B. Yeah, as you rightly said, it is via props. But what about if I want to send some data from component B to A? Yeah, any idea how to do that? Yeah, we have not discussed it, so that's why I'm asking you. Now, what if, okay, so even this also works, right? If I want data from B to A, if I just make A as child component of B, then the solution of props will work. Now let us see, I think both this technique. Which one? I think, sorry, props you already seen. Let me talk about one of this. Yeah. How do I send data from B to A? Reverse, from child to parent. After this, we'll also see what if these two are two separate child components. Yeah, two separate child components, but they are not, you know, in a relation like, okay, parent to child. Getting what I'm saying? They're not, but they are basically child under a common parent component. Yeah, both are child, but they are under another component called, they're under another component called, yeah, one more component called app. So we know that in React, yeah, we have a component tree, meaning we cannot have two component exist without having a common parent component. They always will have some parent component. So you think that is this parent component. I just wrote app, but then it's a common parent component. Now in this scenario, how do we pass data from A to B? Is still a question. How do we pass from A to B? Anyone has an idea? How do I pass data from A to B? Yes, props is fine. Props works. Reverse, meaning from parent to child, is via props. So the question is, how do I send it back? Okay, that I'm going to answer. Now here, how do I send it from A to B? This like this, it is not possible. Yeah, like this, it is not possible. But then what is the option? Yeah, I think you are seeing already. So instead of directly sending it to B, you can actually send it to parent, and parent can send it to component B. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can send the data from this component to the parent. Also, I can receive the data from parent to component A. Correct? The same thing happens here. I send the data to component B, And from component B also, yeah, in a moment we will understand now how to send from B to A. So it means in that case, I'll maintain the data in the parent component. Now why, what I'm communicating? I'm communicating mostly data, correct? Yeah. So there are two patterns, correct? So this is P1, this is P2. So let's understand these two examples now. Is a scenario clear? What I'm actually talking about? Yeah. So we will understand
Yes,
these two
yes, sir.
scenarios. How I can actually communicate it back. Okay. For this to work, let me go to my stack, please. As you know, in our dashboard we have set up projects. For example, sign up counter example. Yeah, I'll take this uh, very old, maybe I think props. Yeah, we have worked with props. Let's take this particular template. We will fork it. Yeah, we'll fork this a bit. Okay, it seems to be a simple one. Yeah, so fork, and we'll say okay, component communication. So that's how I name it. So tomorrow I'll if I go to my dashboard, I'll see this example. That's the reason I'm forking it and giving a name. Huh? If this is useful for your examples, you also do like this. Okay, I already have some components. That's a cool thing. So it can save some time. Okay, I don't have to type everything now. Now, yeah, based on the prop, we are displaying whether it's a login page or not. All right, that's also cool. Now we have a parent component called app. Now we got what is child component, like think like it's a login page. I'm also saying I'll also have an home page, which is another component. Now, so how do I pass data from home page to login page is a question. So before that, yeah, so look at this example. It has three simple components, nothing more than that, isn't it? So now assume I have a data in login page. Assume this login page is not a just simple login page with some title. Okay, we'll just make a use case. Yeah, we'll build a use case here. So I'll say h3, and a it's a what? It has a form. Login page has a form. Okay, so I'll put input, and this input has a name called username, isn't it? You can have an input like username. Now the use case is how do I communicate this username to the from the login page to the to the app component, to this app component. We will see that one first. Yeah, we'll forget the home page part now. Now tell me first of all, how do I maintain the data of this input within the login page? I'll say const username, set username, and then I'll use a use state hook, which is what I'm going to use to store this information. This we are all clear, correct? We can create a state variable. And once you use the state variable, so the state variable is not defined, so I'll have to do an import. Yeah, it is coming from React, as you know. Now tell me, how do I store, you know, this value into that particular state which I just created now? How? How? Tell me. I have to write one function called handle change, correct? On this handle change function, I'm going to get an event object. In that event object, I will have event.target.value is what I'm going to have the value of what, the the input value. How I'm going to get it? On change event. Is that is enough? No, we discussed it's a controlled component. On change also required. I also should, you know, pass in the prop called for value. So value, what I'm going to pass? I'm going to pass whatever is coming from the username. Now if I am passing this value on change, I should also update it to the username saying set username as e.target.value. Some people have the habit of writing and change directly here without even writing this additional function. Yeah, that is also fine. Yeah, that's also possible. Just remember that. Yeah, that's also there, wherein we can write handle change directly here using an arrow function. Fine. Now just to see if I'm storing properly or not, as we discussed, I can also put an interpolation on username just to see that it is in the state. Okay, test username. Yeah, you see, I'm able to read. I'm also displaying what is in the state. Now this example source sheet is working. Working, not working. So any question with this login page maintaining the data or the state of this input field within itself?
No.
Anybody has a question in this? Anybody is not clear how this is working still? Manoj, Rajesh,
Yeah, clear, sir.
clear? Now let's see, what if instead of having this here, instead of having this username here, okay, I would like to move both of this into the parent component. What I'm saying, instead of having this username and handle change in the child, what if I have, you know, what if I have the, have that state maintained within the parent component? Now tell me, how do I get this value of input as and when user types? How do I get this? The technique is very simple. Now I'm going to pass two props actually. Correct? Can I pass a prop like this? So both I will pass in username and I'll pass in this method also, this function also. And the same thing I'll destructure and I'll give it here. Now is it going to work? This input needed, all it needed was, it needed a state username and on change this callback function. I mean this handle basically. Now within the app component, just to show you, what if I put, yeah, this is now within the app. I'll also put one br tag just so you understand. Now I'm going to print what is username. Above this I'm going to print, sorry, instead of br I wanted an horizontal rule, which is a line. Now tell me, what if I type here, do you see this information is now there in the app component? This is app, this is login page, and the below one is home page. So is this clear now? Do you see that now the data whatever I typed in the login is going back to the parent? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So from here whatever I typed, how it is going? The important thing is, yes, I mean, since we wanted this username, you are passing it. But the technique here is we can use this callback functions. We can pass in some callback functions as a prop to this child component. And along with this callback, I can pass the additional data. For example, I have a button here. Yeah, leave that input. Okay. So I have a button. Okay. So send some data. Yeah, I'm just showing you another example here. Okay, you might get confused with, okay, I need to pass both the things. No, you need not have to. So on click, there is something. Yeah, I would like to handle on click event. How? I can write an inline function here and I say, okay, on button click. I can have one function. That function I can invoke. While invoking, I can pass some data. Let's say I want to pass this data itself. So I'll pass in some string. Can I not pass like this? Now this function, I will define it part of the parent. So basically this technique where we pass a callback function and we are going to invoke that callback function with some data. So assume this is going to accept some data. And in the parent, I can say simply console.log string just to show you an example, but real use case can be different. Now I pass this on button click as a prop. Do you understand what I'm actually doing? I just happen to show it in the same example, but now all I'm saying is now it will print in the console, send some data. See, now I got the data printed, but then where? From the parent component. So this function was invoked where? In the child component. And while invoking, that can pass additional data like this. You can pass an object, you can pass array, whatever you want, you can pass it in that method. Clear? This is an important technique. Okay, people will ask you how do you send it. Now is this clear now? Yeah, this is the reverse. This is a technique to reverse. Yeah, it may not be having standard concept like props. Yeah, React doesn't have a technique like, okay, passing that, but using the props, yeah, we can tweak and meaning we can make use of the same technique wherein we pass a callback function. To that callback function we pass the data. The same thing is happening in the first example also. This handle change was called with the complete event object. Event object had a value and that's what you stored within the app state. Is it clear? Yeah, clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear. So now
Basically, yeah.
with that we solved this problem. From B we are sending data to A. Okay, this is done. Now let's move to the second case. So can you tell me now how this works? I already told you the technique now. Correct? So we maintain the use state here. We put the use state here, which will hold the data. Yeah. If at all component A wants, we pass it as a props. If at all component A wants to update, okay, we pass it via what? Callback function. Same technique here. If B wants it, I pass it as a prop. If B wants to update that state, I will pass it via the callback. So directly not possible. Okay, directly this is not there. This will not work. For this way of maintaining the common state. Okay, maintaining the common state within the parent component. Yeah, yeah, is one of the technique to share state between the components. And this technique, okay, of what I told you, this example, yeah, pattern B or pattern 2 is actually called as lifting state up. What is it? Lifting the state up. What it means? Imagine initially the state was there within the component A and another state was there within the component B. Now let's say they both want to exchange it. Not possible. So you move the state from here to the parent. You move this state also from here to the parent. Now that state can be exchanged. And this is a pattern. That pattern is called lifting the state up. And they have given some good examples also here. Yeah, accordion, panel, and all that. And you can even practice these examples also. Okay, now coming back to our case, yeah, now we will see how do we pass the data from home page to login page. Let's say we want username. Tell me how do I pass it? I can simply pass in the username prop to the parent. Why? Because I already have the data which is in the state, which is in the app. Now since home page is a child to the app, it can directly get the data. And within home page I can easily display, okay, this username. Yeah, already we know this technique, correct? It's called prop. What do we know? We know that it is a prop. So now I type, okay. So let's say the username, yeah, ag_1234. That's a username. Now you see this data, whatever I'm typing is there in the app, is there in the home page. Correct? So this was not required. Just I showed you for a example, but it was required to communicate between, okay, to communicate between these two components. Now whatever you type in login page is now visible in the home page. Did we communicate? Yes. Are they parent to, are they nested components? Yeah. Are they having any relation like that? No, they're siblings basically. Is it clear what I said now? Yeah. So this is one pattern you should know. Yes, prop is one technique. This is one more technique. Like this we have some more techniques also. Yeah, this is not over. Okay, this is not the end, but this is one of the technique which is called lifting the state up or sharing the state between the components. Now as this next thing, yeah, I would say you guys can read this particular thing, preserving and resetting state. Interesting article. I would like to tell you how we can use hook. Yeah, there is a hook similar to useState which is called as useReducer. What is the hook name? It's called useReducer. So now we are using useState, but next we can use another hook called useState also. useReducer also for storing some complex data. Yeah, and instead of complex data, I would say this can be used for predictable state updates. You can track, okay, what has changed, what was the initial value, okay, what was the addition you did, counter was 0, did you add 1, did you add 5, did you subtract 1 and then it became 4. Yeah, so it's called predictable state update. So as a next topic I'm going to cover this. Yeah, so if you get a chance, yeah, read through this. Okay, read through this. I think I'll be explaining this. Okay, I think I'll stop here for now.